Welcome to Covenant Communications Audio Library. We are pleased to present Dare to be Different by Troy Dunn. We hope you enjoy the presentation.
How many of you guys know what a standing ovation is? Okay, let me give you the chemical breakdown of a standing ovation. It's when you start out sitting like you are now, something great happens or somebody walks in, you start clapping. As the clapper builds, you come up to your feet, the clapping gets louder, and as the clapping dies, you end up sitting. So it's sit, stand, sit. We got that? So what we're going to do is we are going to do a reverse standing ovation. Are you following me on this? This is brain work now. So it means what we're going to do, and don't do it till I tell you, we're going to start out standing, start clapping. As the clapping builds, we're going to sit down when it gets to its highest point, and then as it dies out, end up standing. Is that getting to you? Okay, stand up. I'll stand over here. I'll just act like I'm somebody really famous. Okay. So I'm one of the new kids around the corner, or around the block. No, I'm just kidding. Wayne's World! Wayne's World! Okay. So I'm going to come walking out. I'm Wayne. And you guys do the sitting ovation. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Very, very good. I saw a few guys out there going, stand, sit, stand. That was good. Now, the reason I wanted you to do that is because I want to know, did anybody suffer any major pain? I knew somebody would say that. There's no pain involved in doing that. It's the same as doing a standing ovation, only the opposite. And I wanted to get that point across to you because I want you to understand that there shouldn't be pain involved in being different. If you think there is, then we need to talk about that, and that's what we're going to do. Because you see, there's 2 lines that we're following, and some of you guys have to understand, how many feet do you have? 2 feet. You can walk on 2 lines. You can walk on 1 line at a time, right? Too many of you are trying to balance yourself and go down 2 lines. All right, now let me show you those 2 lines before I give you the first example. This started way back in the beginning of time. First line, we, us, we, us, we, us. LDS and the world. And it was 1 line. Back then, it was just the way life was. It was just okay that there was religion involved in things and faith and helping your fellow man and all that stuff. That was just part of the world. And then as things went on, what happened to LDS? Stayed, didn't it? We still have the same strong values. We still believe in helping each other out. We still believe in a good brothel now and then. We still believe in being good to each other and not drinking and not smoking and all those things. But what's happened to the world? Somewhere along the way, the world started slipping, haven't they? Well, even though I'm older than some of you guys can look back to when you first went to your first movie and look at the last one you've gone to recently. Is there any difference between a PG movie now and a PG movie a few years ago? You bet your booty there is. Big difference. That's a typical example of how society has gone down. I remember a time when the guys in school who drank, it was kind of a hidden thing, you know, but now it's like, it seems like everybody does. It seems like it. And so the problem is that everybody wants to be popular. Everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants to have friends. What's the conflict here? We're all LDS. Now how can we walk those 2 lines at the same time? You can't. You guys are lying to yourself if you think that you can go to church on Sunday and be LDS and then Monday hop right into the swing of things and be one of the dudes. You're lying. So what I'm going to show you is that it's okay to be different. I tell you, sometimes it's scary if you haven't ever gone out and actually said to yourself, this is it. I'm going to live what I learned. Now, I don't mean walking down the hall and yelling to everybody, bless you, cometh to me. Just practicing what you were taught on Sunday to carry it through the week. And sometimes it's tough and sometimes... I want to tell you about the first time that I had to really exercise being different. I had to make a conscious decision. And I guess this was before I realized that maybe you shouldn't, because I was taught that some things you do and some things you don't do. And I know everybody gets probably tired of Troy Dunn telling football stories. This is the only football story I'll tell in this class. How many of you are in sports? Of any kind? Male, female, other types? They're all there. Okay, most of you. Good. So you understand what it's like. You know what halftime's all about, right? Halftime is always one of two things. One, if you're winning the first half, halftime's a party, isn't it? Everybody's in there excited, high-fiving, talking about who they slammed and who they punched and all that good stuff. And if you're losing, it's the other way around. Everybody's like sitting down, sulking, blaming it on each other. The coach is screaming and kicking his hat. And the time that I first learned to be different was in what I call a losing halftime. My sophomore year, I was not eligible to play varsity ball. I was just dressing out. But sophomores, when you're losing, and those of you who are just starting into your sophomore year, keep this in mind. This is a very important thing. It will save your life. When your team is losing and you're going to halftime, get the back corner seat. Back as far as you can, out of the reach of the coach. Okay? Because what happens when a junior or a senior is messing up? Who's the first thing the coach grabs? Come here, sophomore. And he grabs that senior and says, now watch this. The next time you're blocking this guy, hit him low, don't hit him in the gut, and take him and hit him like this and then throw him down and get down the field. And then that's some poor sophomore going, So I'm telling you, sophomores, get to the back of the room, okay? That's what I always did. I was taught early. When that scoreboard's going behind, he goes, hit the lock. Before he says per room, I'm like, get in that corner seat. And it's a typical halftime procedure in our locker room. First, the guys come in, they sit down. The trainers come out. They bring out like the stacks of Coke for each row. They bring out a bag of oranges for everybody so you can get your fluids back in you and get your adrenaline going and things. The coaches come in and they start yelling and screaming and starting from there. So I'm in the corner seat, my first losing halftime. And I'm sitting there and I notice the trainers come out and they're stacking all the Cokes. I'm going, Coke. No big deal, right? You know, it's like, so, okay, so I'm either going to drink it or I'm not. You know, I just trying to make a quick decision. It wasn't like a moral issue. I like going, oh, geez, I don't know what to do. It was just either I am or I'm not, you know. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't know. I guess, you know, I probably shouldn't, you know. It's not like enforced in the church, but it's kind of a suggestion. But hey, no problem. I'm not that thirsty anyway, so I won't drink a Coke. And that was all I wanted to do. I didn't want to stand up on the bench and go, I shall not partake of this kind of 12-ounce sin. You know, no need. No need. I did not need to do that, and you don't need to do that to be different. You just need to live what you learn. So I thought, no problem. I'm not going to have a Coke. So I'm just sitting back in the corner kind of watching them. Here come the coaches barging in the locker room, screaming and shouting and throwing their clipboard and kicking their hand and going, I can't believe it! And the head coach comes out, and he starts walking up and down the locker room, and he starts talking, and he starts screaming at everybody, and all the seniors like going, oh my gosh, he's mad, and the sophomores in the corner going, he can't reach me, and he's just screaming back and forth, and as he's walking by me, and I'm over in this corner, he stops for a second. He goes, son, drink a Coke, you're going to dry up. You need fluids in your body. And he starts on screaming, and he stops. And he looks at me, and I'm melting really fast. And he goes over to our assistant coach, and he says, Coach Purdom? Coach Purdom, he's afraid to death of our coach. He goes, yes, coach? He said, can you hear anything coming out of my mouth? Is there noise coming out of my mouth? Anything. Just tell me. Is there no noise? He's like, yes, coach, plenty of noise. And he goes, well, that's odd. I find that odd. Do you find that odd? I find that very odd. Because there seems to be a young man back here who I thought, now tell me if I'm wrong, but I thought I just told him to drink some fluids. Did I not? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll quit. Am I wrong? No, coach, you told him to drink it. So explain to me, son, why are you ignoring me? Why is it that my words mean nothing to you? Is that the problem with this entire team? I'm going, geez, thanks. All I did was I don't want to drink a Coke. He said, so answer me. Why aren't you drinking a Coke? You know, the whole team's focusing. I'm like, I can't. What? I can't. Oh, he can't. Can anybody explain that to me, please? Why can't he drink this? And this is honest, true story. My best friend. You can always count on your best friends when you really need them. He's over here and he stands there and goes, can't, coach. It's against his religion. I said, oh boy, I owe this guy. He said, it's what? It's against my religion. Great! This is great. This is just great. Coach, is this great? This is so great. I have a quarterback that cannot catch, receivers that can't catch, blockers that can't block, and linebackers that can't make a tackle, and a sophomore that can't drink a Coke. What kind of team is this? So here I am, trying to be different, and I'm ruining the world. He said, well, son, you better grab one of those oranges and suck it dry. Tell you what, I've never done so many oranges all my life. So that went on. Went out with the game. Game was over. I'm back in the locker room thinking, oh man, I might as well just pack it up. I'm history. Guys are walking around going, dude, man, that was one stupid thing to do. And I go, yeah, well, I'm really sorry. So I was like, all week long before the next game, I'm trying to avoid the coach, you know. You pass him in the hall because he teaches study hall. It's all those brains. And I'm like, okay, don't make eye contact. I didn't want to see him. Anytime I see him come around the corner, I was like, whew. I didn't care if I had to ditch into the girls' bathroom, anything. I just did not want to see this guy. And the next game came, and I've already told myself, this is it. He can put out Coke. He can put out vodka. I'm not going to be different this time. And came to the halftime. We're losing. I'm in the corner ever so fast. We get there, same routine. Trainers come out, dropping all the Cokes down the line, dropping all the oranges down the line. I'm already ready for one of those Cokes. I'm like, yeah, buddy, I'm going to drink one faster than anybody. And the guy right in front of me says, Dunn, Dunn, look. I said, what? He goes, there's 1 6-pack of 7-Up. I said, yeah, right. He said, there is, look. I said, so what do I do? Drink it! I grabbed that thing, so here come the coaches, same routine. They're in screaming and yelling, walking back and forth, and as he walks by me, he just stops real quick. Nobody probably even knows. And just kept right on going, just like that. And for a split second, I said, aha. See? Somehow, in that one quick wink that I understand, we totally had an entire conversation. Something took place in that one moment that for the rest of my football career made it for me. I was able to be different. I was able to be the unusual one, which got me a lot of attention, a lot of respect. And it was just because I held strong, thinking that all things were going to fall apart. My good old buddy, my best friend, he comes up afterwards after he sees that 7-Up thing. He goes, hey, I'm Catholic. Maybe he should bring me some wine. Didn't work. Did not work. Did not work. Anyway, so that was my first experience, and it went pretty well. It had a good ending and everything, and there are times you'll find in your life where you'll be different without even really thinking about it. You'll just make a decision, go, You know, people go, well, that was weird. Why did you do it? And you go, oh, I don't know. I didn't know I did it. But there are times when you will have to consciously make a hard effort. And there's times where you want so much. You say, gee, just let me blend. I just want to be white. Just stick me in the crowd. You don't want to stick out. And those are usually the times when parents come involved. Anybody had an embarrassing experience with their parents? Maybe. Well, I want to tell you that I can top any story here, probably, with my parents. I love them to death. I still love them, and they're still my heroes. But they taught me a lesson about being different, an involuntary lesson. When I moved into 9th grade, I don't know how many of you have ever experienced moving around a lot, like from school to school, but I did. My family did all the time. And it got really tough to adjust and to continually make friends over and over and over. And it finally got to the point where I said, that's it. I'm never going to make it in the popularity team at all. Because I was like known as like everybody's little brother. You ever had that? It's like, oh, he's so cute. Forget it. You're going to have your cute. So going into 9th grade, this was going to be my big football year. And I was lifting weights and running and getting ready thinking this is going to be my big year. I'm going into a new school. I'm going to change my image, my attitude, and be whatever I can possibly be to be popular. And so much so, I met a girl who was a cheerleader who was also new. And she also wanted to fit in. And so we got together and we said, okay, what's the fastest way in this area, because we're in a country town, what's the fastest way to get popular in this town is to have a successful party. And so we planned one. Now, not the kind of party you guys probably are used to having today, but not a whole lot different either. We just decided we wanted to have everybody there and have a good time and a lot of good music. So we planned this thing all semester, because the whole first semester I'm playing football and she's cheerleading. We don't have time to be real social anyway. So we said, New Year's Eve, we are going to rock this town. And we planned everything. We had announcements printed up. We had T-shirts made so everybody that came to the party could have a T-shirt. We sent an invitation to everybody who was anybody and said, come to this party. Now my family, you have to understand my family's financial situation. It was as much an up and down as our moving. I mean, there's times where we were just flat broke. And there were times where the Lord blessed us and we prospered. And it's gone like that all of our lives. But this happened to be one of those up times where we happened to have a little money. And so we happened to have a nice home. And so this was ideal for a party. It was a beautiful house. The living room was a 2-story balcony, and there's a cool party room. When you come in, the front door, you go down this long hallway, past a chandelier, turn left, go down 3 steps, and that's our party room. Okay, you got that visual picture? So this is where we plan to have it. The night finally came. I waited all semester for this party. I was so stoked. Everybody I knew was going, hey, see you at the party, see you at the party. People I didn't even know were coming and bringing friends. So I'm at the front door of the party, and the cars are coming in. You have to understand, ninth grade, nobody can drive, so their parents are their chauffeurs. Dropping them off. It looked like I was having the Academy Awards at my house. They're just circling the driveway and dropping cars off. I'm like, come on in, cool, come on in. Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 people, 4 times more popular, 5 times more popular. This is really cool. And so I'm taking everybody's jackets and laying them down to the side, and everybody's going down in the room. And bless my parents, they went so far out of their way to make this good for me. Not only did my mom clean the house spotless, my dad went out and brought in like 10-ton trucks of Doritos and 2-liter bottles of pop and dip and just tons of food. And the place was just decked for a good party. So I was just all stoked and ready for a good party. My dad did warn me ahead of time that he would have to lay down a few ground rules, but he would stay out of the way, and my mom and dad would just kind of be gone, be invisible for the party. So I said, okay, that's a deal. So everybody's piling into the room, and about the time I say, okay, well, it looks like everybody's here now. We can probably go ahead and start this party. So I go down there, and everybody's in the room mingling and stuff. I'm going, yeah, pretty cool. You know? I had a good Christmas that year as far as everything I asked for was for my party. I asked for nothing for myself. I said, well, I guess that is for myself, but I said I wanted new records. I wanted some lights to hook up. I wanted a new stereo, which was not a nice stereo. It was just a stereo from Kmart's, but it was a stereo. And you know how moms are. They don't know what a good stereo is anyway. Oh, it looks nice. So there it was. Beautiful, beautiful picture of an incredible party. Everybody's there looking around like, let's get this thing started. And I'm down there, and I'm playing a little music because I know my dad's going to come lay down the rules. So he comes in and goes, Troy, you want to turn the music down, please? I'm thinking, okay, Father in heaven, make this so fast that they don't even hear it. Please just make it go really fast. So he comes in, he said, I'm Troy's father. I want to lay down a few rules for this party tonight. And, you know, everybody right there is going, oh yeah, right, rule this. I ain't got no rules. And first of all, there are 2 ways out of this room. One, it goes right out into our beautiful backyard, and if you open that door, I'll be sitting there in a recliner waiting, and I'll send you home, and I'll call your mother. And I'm going, oh good, Dad, let's get into the mother stuff now. Go through this door. We have a Great Dane out there. His name is Bear. Troy, you want to show him Bear? I'm like, no, Dad, that's right. Hey, guys, Bear's just a Great Dane. Okay, go ahead, go on, Dad. He's like, Troy, show him Bear. So I'm right for all my friends going, excuse me, I'm sorry, this is really embarrassing. He doesn't act like this. I'm really sorry. Here. So I get to the garage door, I open it up. There's our Great Dane. And he's just a dumb dog. He's just a big, but he's big. He's 6'1" when he stands up. And so he's really stupid, but he looks like he's mean. And so I open the door, and he's trying to jump in because he wants to go lick everybody, but he looks like he's trying to kill. So I just open the door in the garage. I say, here, this is Bear. I'm trying to hold on to him. He's like, everybody's like, all right, shut the door, Troy, shut the door. My dad goes, that's Bear. He was pretty proud of that. Now, he said, the only other rules in my home, none of that smooching stuff, none of that necking, you know, those cool words Mom and Dad use, and no alcohol. Is that understood? You know, everybody's still like, yeah. I'm over like totally melting, saying, come on, Dad, please, I'm ready. I got my hand on the volume. As soon as he stops talking, I'm turning up that stereo and trying to blend him. He says, all right, then you guys have a good time. Party hard. And he turns to walk away. So I'm ready to get this party started. And he goes, oh, one more thing. Almost forgot. Why didn't you remind me, Troy? In the Dunn home, we start every activity with an opening prayer. I was under that table, and I said, oh my gosh. My popularity was going, woof, gone. I said, okay, Lord, all you have to do is just make sure he doesn't call on me. And he didn't. As an answer to a prayer, I have a testimony of prayer because of that. And he said, I'll say it. So another prayer, I sent up another prayer real quick. I said, okay, Lord, make him say it really, really fast. My dad blessed everything. He blessed the Doritos. He blessed their mom and dads that were out in the parking lot. I mean, he blessed everything. It just went on and on. You know how he comes up first and he says, all right, bow your heads. You know, and the guy's like going, yeah, right. My dad's big. He said, bow your heads. He's like, yo. And he said, let us pray. So, my dad starts into this prayer. And I'm like looking around. I can see all the guys going, you've got to be kidding me. We're praying at this party. I'm like going, okay, as soon as this prayer's over, I'll just go to the door and start handing out people's coats. Say, I'm sorry, I'll make my family move, we'll go somewhere else. And, of course, the prayer ends, and you have to understand, if you're growing up in the church, it's just an instant habit to say, amen. And I was the only one that said it. I'm going, oh. So Dad says, all right, have a good time. And he leaves. And I turn that stereo up real fast. I'm thinking, oh, man, this is it. I'm just going to sit back. I didn't even look up. I just stayed looking down, playing records, like, yeah. Of course, my best friend, the one I told you about, he's always there for you when you need him, right? He comes up and he says, so have you got that brand new one from Hall & Oates? I said, yeah. He said, can you play it? I said, yeah. He said, bless you. It just started like that. I was like, oh, this is a good sign of how my whole night's going to go. So I just playing music, and I'm playing music, and I'm looking around, and every so often I look up, and the crowd's a little smaller, and a little smaller, and a little smaller, and I'm going, oh, man. Just what I thought. My dad blew it for me. He just had to stand up and say a prayer in front of all my friends. Just great. Satan's ruining my party. So I said, well, I'm going to put a long record on. There's only 5 or 6 people left in the room. I'm going to just go up and get some chips to eat or something. So I go heading out of the room, and I walk past the living room where we had a really nice big screen TV. And my dad's sitting there in a recliner watching a football game. And every guy in the party was sitting with him. And they're all standing with my dad, and they're like loud, and they're jumping up and down. They're high-fiving my dad. They're going, oh, it was a touchdown. Was not, was too. Yeah, brother, going, wow. Just getting all excited. I'm going, oh my gosh, my dad's losing. They're throwing popcorn at each other. My dad's having a good time with them. I go, oh my gosh, this is really weird. So I cruising on down to the kitchen. I get down to the kitchen, and just before I turn the corner into the kitchen, I don't know how many of you heard that noise, but how many of you guys have been around where there's a bunch of girls talking by themselves? You just hear that? So as I come around the corner to step into the kitchen, I'm hearing all these like dying mice noises. And I stop and I look up and all the girls are there. And oh, help me, my mom is talking to them. And they all are laughing and they all look up and see me. I said, oh no, mom's telling stories on me now. So I say, this is it, man. My party is a total disaster. My friends are in there with my dad. These girls are in there listening to my mom tell probably stupid stories about when I was like, I don't know, in my underwear in a puddle or something like that. I didn't know. So I'm thinking, this is it. My life is over. And finally, the time comes for the party to end. And I'm at the door, and I'm handing people back their coats off of my dad's bed. I'm like, here you go, here you go. They're like going by going, dude, cool party, man. Take care. See you Monday. I'm like, excuse me? Some guys are going by going, hey, man, your dad is so cool, man. All right, check it out. I'm like going, well, whose dad broke into my house tonight? It wasn't my dad. And it just seemed to go like that. It was like one after another. People were saying, Dad, cool party, man. Check it out. Take it later. And I went to school Monday, and it was the same stuff. People were still saying, that was so cool, man. It was so cool. I was like, I don't believe this is happening. I cannot believe that my party fell apart like that. My dad prayed, and people are telling me cool party. Now, I don't tell you that story because what I want you to do is then think that every party's going to go that way, because I don't know. Every party's different, and all your friends are different, and maybe it was a once-in-a-lifetime deal. But still, anytime you make a decision to be different, or somebody does, you'll be amazed at the effects. You'll be amazed. The Lord doesn't give us all these things and say, okay, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, and then watch you do them, and then when you do them, everything falls apart, and he goes, can't believe they fell for that one. He doesn't do that. He does it because it's for us. And you think he's going to give us a rule? You think he's going to give us a rule and then not follow up on it? He's going to bless you. When you make the decision to be different, he's going to bless you. Whether it's drinking, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's immorality, he's going to bless you. He's not going to put you out there and give you all the rules and watch you struggle. And now this story this one that I want to tell you is never an easy story for me to tell. But I think that if it helps anybody, then it's worth it. It's never easy, I don't think, for anybody to be able to stand up and tell stories about themselves, and look stupid. So bear with me on this one. But my ninth grade year was my hardest year for going through this popularity thing. The football team and the party and friends and girlfriends, and it was just going out of control. To the point where there are some people that you just really never notice, you know, you just never mess with them. And unless they talk to you, you don't talk to them, that kind of thing. And the school I was in, there were two things that were popular, and this will blow your mind probably because it isn't anymore, but football and being in the band. I don't know how band is anymore, but for me, it was really cool, especially if you're one of the drummers. You know, we got that rap thing going in the back and everything, and it was cool. Now, there was this one guy in the band that you should know about because you probably all have one in your school. You probably all have one. And we called him Garbage Digger. Does this ring a bell with anybody? This guy was dirty. He had clothes. His hair was greasy. He played one of the clarinets, the only guy I knew to play clarinet on the front row. And when he'd go down the hall, or you could see him like in the lunchroom, he sat by himself. He would eat food off other people's trays. He would pull stuff out of the trash, which is why we called him Garbage Digger. He'd dig in the trash down the hall. We were going by going, "Oh, you digging for gold there, Garbage Digger?" You know, we just totally razz on him all the time. And we had a band director. You have to get a visual picture of what she looked like. Her name was Ms. Biddle. Okay? Very tall, very thin. She had this long stick that she tapped on the thing when she's trying to get our attention. And it got on my nerves so bad. She'd go, "Class, pant, 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 pant. Ready?" And I hated that thing. So she would always use that to point at us, you know. "You sit down, you smarty pants." And one day, the way our class works, and it's mostly the same through most schools, is just before class gets started, while she's taking roll, we had what we call office assistants, who that hour they take out roll and stuff like that. Do you have that? So they come into the class just before class, and they give you the absentee list, those people who are not there for the day. So we're sitting there, of course, as drummers, we're back there being the smart alecks. We were the funniest guys in class, and every time we tell a joke, we go, boom, 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 you know. So we had everybody laughing all the time. So we're sitting there, she's taking roll, nobody's listening, you know. She's like, "Hello, are you here?" And we're like, boom, boom. And we see her, this is an abnormal day, because normally she runs right through that absentee list, right through it. And then she checks off the roll, and we start playing. This time, she slows down. She's going through the absentee list. And she stops, and she stares at this one name. And it was Garbage Digger. She sat and looked at us, shook her head. And she looked back down. I could tell the reason she did, because her eyes were swelling with water. So obviously the class is starting to get real quiet, and we're like, uh-oh, what's the problem? Now, he didn't die. Let's not get dramatic about this. He didn't die. But he was absent. So, of course, as drummers, we're like, "Oh, what's wrong there, Miss Biddle?" She said, "Like you want to know." We said, "Yeah, what's up?" She said, "Well, for your information, we have a student missing who's having a bit of a problem." And I said, "Oh, yeah, Garbage Digger, huh? Yeah, I didn't think I could smell him today." And she says, "That's it. I've had it." And she threw her little baton or whatever that is, pew, down. She goes, "Let me tell you something. All of you, every one of you." And she starts to lecture to us. She says, "First of all, his name is not Garbage Digger. It's Gerald, and his friends call him Jerry. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know he had a name, but he does, and it's Jerry. Second of all, I don't know if you're aware of this, but his father lost their job 2 years ago, and they were forced to move into a barn. There's a farmer who has a big piece of land who used to raise cattle, who does not any longer, and he allowed their family to move into this barn. No electricity, no water, just live in it so they have shelter. Are any of you aware of that? I didn't think so. See, we're starting to really shut up now and feel pretty stupid. She said, "Let's discuss why you call him Garbage Digger. Let's do that, because you all think it's so funny. So let's discuss it. Do you know why, when he goes through the lunch line, they put more food on his plate than anybody else's? Do you have any idea? I'll tell you why. Because it's the only meal he eats every day, and the school board is aware of that. And so he's given a little extra. And do you know why it is that after you all leave the lunchroom, he walks around to the different trays and takes what's left and puts them in his pocket? Because he takes them home to his family and to his little brother who's not yet in school. And so he doesn't get a school lunch. So oftentimes he goes without eating. And do you know why he digs in the trash? Because you all think it's so funny to pencil fight. But when you're finished, he picks up those broken pencils and he sharpens them and he uses them for his schoolwork. She said, 4 times I've gotten assignments back from him that have been written on the back of a piece of paper that had one of your love notes on it. Because it's all he's got. And I want you to know why he's not here today. Even though it's none of your business and you don't deserve to know, I want you to know. Last night, one of their lanterns fell over and burned their barn down. And in the fire, his clarinet was destroyed. And it's not his clarinet, it's one that he checked out through the school. And he's embarrassed to come to this class without an instrument. And so there's a guy down the street who's paying him to chop wood. And when he gets enough money, he'll come back with an instrument. And this is the guy that you guys have all been calling garbage digger and picking on and laughing at. And he can't take it. He wants so much to be one of you, and he can't. And one of the girls in the clarinet section stood up, pulled $5 out of her pocket. She laid it on Miss Biddle's music stand. She says, "You give this to Jerry. You tell him I'm sorry." And one by one, people started coming out of the band and digging out their change and piling it on the stand. And it went even farther than that. Kids went home and they started organizing food drives. And they started raising money. And within 1 month after this happened, they had 6 months' worth of food given to this family. Enough money to buy them a mobile home and Jerry's clarinet. And I feel like such a jerk. Because I was so caught up in this popularity thing and making everybody laugh that I did it at Jerry's expense. And I wasn't man enough to be the first one to stand up and say, "Here's $5 for Jerry. I'm sorry." That was a tough lesson for me to learn. And you know when it got tougher? It got tougher when he came back to school. And I passed him in the hall, and I decided this time I was going to talk to him every time I saw him. And I passed him in the hall, and I said, "Hey, Jerry, how are you doing?" And he said, "Great." He said, "I saw you play football last week." He said, "You had 198 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble, and 1 interception." I said, "How'd you know that?" He said, "I'm always watching you." That was a tough, tough lesson for me. And so I'm here to tell you today that when you leave here and you go back to your schools and back to your friends, that you look out for the Jerrys in your life. Because they're watching you and they need you. And it's not an option to be different. You need to be. You have to be. There are people out there whose lives depend on you being different. You all have what it takes. You've all got the gospel. And you know what the Jerrys look like out there. Stand up and be different. Make a difference in life. Don't just be one of the others. You'll blend. Nobody wants to blend. I love you very much. And I know that you guys are fighting some problems. But you're tough. You're tough. The Lord put you here because you're tough. Now fight. Be different. I say this in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.